Michael, my dude, as always, good to see you. So, Halloween Ends is the third and final installment in David Gordon Green's 2018 trilogy. Well, started in 2018, 21, 22. Thank you, COVID. It is the final installment in David Gordon Green's trilogy that has definitely breathed new life into this franchise. Towards the end there with those Rob Zombie movies and that Halloween Resurrection movie, things were a little bit shaky. He brought the Michael Myers mythology back to what it originally was, brought some respect back to this guy over here. The 2018 film, in obviously my opinion, was absolutely spectacular. I thought it was one of the better films in this entire franchise, dating back all the way to 1978. Halloween Kills I was hot and cold with it, had its high points, had its low points, and that whole evil dies tonight thing.
Evil dies tonight.
For God's sakes. So now moving on to Halloween Ends, I think to say the very least, this is going to spark up a whole lot of conversation, a whole lot of controversy, which if you watch things online, it clearly already has. Some people are going to love this movie. Probably most people are probably going to hate probably going to hate this movie. So how do I feel about this thing? Let's get into it, folks. Halloween Ends. That old lady fucked you up. All right, so right off the bat, I will say I'm not real high on censoring myself, so this is definitely going to be a spoiler review. I'm talking about this movie. So if you have not seen this movie yet, I highly recommend that you turn this off and come back after you have. So, this is the final chapter in the David Gordon Green trilogy that began back in 2018. We were supposed to get a movie in 2018, 2020, 2022. That shit ain't work out. Thanks, COVID. But finally, we do have Halloween Ends. I'm firmly in the camp that I don't think that this is going to end. I think this is the end of this trilogy, but I don't think Michael Myers and Halloween is ever going to end because there is far too much money to be made. Back to the movie, or anyway, on with the movie. So, this movie begins, we're introduced to a character named Corey. We've never seen him before. We know nothing about him. Prior to seeing this movie, I'm seeing little tidbits here and there on the internet and people talking about this guy named Corey, but I did my best to avoid all of that shit so that nothing got spoiled for me. Beginning of the movie, Corey is babysitting some bratty fucking kid who makes you easily hate him about that fast. Something happens to this kid. It's pretty shocking. I must say that when the events at the beginning of this movie took place, I, my wife, and my son all gasped, and you could hear that throughout the theater. It's pretty messed up. It might be one of the most messed up things in the history of this being the 13th Halloween movie. This was pretty shocking. It was completely unexpected, and it was a holy shit moment. We'll put it that way. So the movie moves on. We get past the opening credits, and we see that Corey is now the butt of many jokes. He is now frowned upon throughout the town, and he has maybe taken a little bit of heat off of Michael Myers. Now people don't hate him as much as they seem to hate Corey presently. So Michael Myers at this point, I believe there's a 4-year time jump, and he's in hibernation. So you don't see Michael right away, but pretty soon, a little bit of character building with the Corey character, he comes across Michael Myers. And oddly enough, they seem to sort of almost become, I don't know, as buddies may or may not be the right word. I don't know, you go out and get pizza with your buddy. So maybe it's not his buddy. But he becomes like a vehicle to get people to Michael, and as Michael kills people, he seems to be getting stronger. But there is a weird point in this movie where he locks eyes with Corey, and you can almost see Corey absorb some of Michael's evil, and you can see Michael almost see and feel some of Corey's pain. So they're kind of eye to eye. Maybe that's what it is. And whatever. they kind of respect each other. They're just not trying to kill each other at this point, which is all new for Michael Myers, who we've come to know and love since 1978. So now Corey comes across Laurie Strode, and Laurie Strode introduces Michael to her granddaughter, portrayed by Andy Matichek, brilliantly, I might add, throughout this whole David Gordon Green trilogy. And I'm trying not to give too much away. I'm not trying to tell you the whole goddamn movie, but Corey gets involved with Andy, or Allison, not Andy. Andy's character, Allison, and Laurie starts getting a bad vibe about Corey, and Corey is just doing like Michael Myers type of shit in this movie. It gets kind of sideways. You don't really see the showdown I'm all over the place with this review. That's all right. So you don't really see what we've all been waiting for since 2018, or since 1978, for God's sakes, for some of us old bastards. You don't see the showdown between Michael and Laurie until like the end of the movie. So there's three major... I'm done telling you plot. There's three major things that really pissed people off in this movie. I think that the fan base is going to be very divided here. And from what I've seen, it's already happening. People don't like that you don't see Michael Myers very much in this movie. I actually, while I was in the theater watching this, somewhere 45 minutes to an hour into this, my mind went, hey, you're not really seeing very much Michael Myers in this final Halloween movie, which is supposed to feature Michael Myers. You ain't seeing a whole hell of a lot of him. But my spin on that, I guess, is the reason that I didn't notice that right away is because he's sprinkled in. You get little tastes and teases of Michael Myers, and you have Corey, and with that, you kind of feel Michael's presence all throughout this movie. So without him physically being there so much, you still got the essence of him. It still feels like he's there. So that part of it didn't bother me very much, but I know, well, it didn't bother me at all, frankly, but I know that that's going to piss a whole lot of people off. Another thing that's going to really piss a lot of people off probably is that he really is not the star of this movie. The star of this movie, honestly, is Corey. The whole story evolves or revolves around Corey. That didn't bother me either, to be totally honest with you, because I was engaged. I was into the movie. I mean, I can see why that would bother a lot of people, but it didn't bother me because I was engaged. I was enjoying the story, and that was when I kind of got that oh shit moment where I realized Michael wasn't around. So I want as much Michael as I can get, but the story was told well, so that didn't really bother me. The Corey thing didn't bother me at all because without him, that whole lack of Myers would have really pissed me off. The third thing that I think pisses people off is the way that this movie ended. All right, so without trying to get into too much detail about how this movie ended well, you know what? I warned you. If you haven't seen this and you're still here, whatever. They throw Michael Myers into like a car crusher type meat grinder looking thing at the end of this movie. And I know that that's going to piss a bunch of people off. And as I was watching that happen, in my head, I'm going, man, I can already smell the shitstorm coming about this. But look, my logic going into this, I called this way back years ago when they announced that the movies were going to be called Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. I knew Michael Myers was not getting out of this movie alive. There's no way in hell that they're going to call this movie Halloween Ends while Michael Myers is still alive. I kind of had a feeling that Laurie might die. I figured that Laurie, and if he died, it had to be by the hands of Laurie. That's only right. I don't want nobody else killing Michael. If Michael's going to die, the only way I want it to happen is if Laurie does it. If it ain't her, I don't want it to happen. So, Laurie kills Michael in this movie, and very strangely, here's another weird touching point. After Michael gets killed by Laurie, the cops agree that it's a good idea to take his ass down to the junkyard and chuck him into this machine and grind him up like 80-20 hamburger meat. Culinary stuff. So, very strangely, all of the people in Haddonfield show up. All of them. It's like a mass ceremony takes place. Like, after Michael died, they had like bullhorns or foghorns set up somewhere in in Haddonfield, that it was known throughout the community that as soon as Michael dies, we're pressing this hooray button, and everybody is to flock to the junkyard and watch us ceremoniously grind Michael up. I thought that was a bit weird, but again, I didn't mind it. I thought I actually kind of liked it. It made it, the word I used was ceremonious. It was like a big ceremonious ending to this trilogy and to, what's that, 44 years? 1978? If math tells me right, 44 years now since the original movie came out. And the 2018 film was a direct sequel to the 1978 film and got rid of all that other some good, some not so good stuff in between. So 44 years they have been waiting to get rid of this guy, eradicate Haddonfield of the Michael Myers, I don't know, specter that's been hanging over this town. So I thought the ending was fine. It didn't bother me. But I'm also one of them guys that really enjoys Halloween 3. And I'm also one of them guys who liked the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. I like a lot of shit that people don't like, and that's just the way that it is. So like I said, I see online that there's a lot of people upset about this movie. I walked out of that movie theater. I literally went home. I went to the movie theater on Thursday night to see it. We get early screenings at Regal Cinema. You guys, some of you do too, I'm sure. You don't give a shit about that. So I came home from there, and the next morning when I was at work, I told my wife, I said, we got to get Peacock because I want to watch this thing again. And since then, I have watched it again. Not all of it, because your boy's tired. Watched it at night, fell asleep. You don't give a shit about that either. But I immediately loved this movie. And I told several people via text message, as soon as this was over, that I thought it was spectacular. And I stand by that. I stepped away a little bit. I mean, granted, it's only been 3 days, but I tried to step back and I tried to see other people's opinions, and I immediately started watching reviews, and I come across one person so far that seemed to like this movie as well. Two people that seem to like this movie as much as I do. And I feel like if you take away, oh God, I don't even know how to put this into words. If you take your feelings out of it, which is very difficult to do after a franchise that's been running for 44 years, if you try and take your feelings out of it and maybe sit in there as an open mind and just watch the movie as this movie, I think maybe you'd like it better, which is how I tried to go into this, because Halloween Kills was a pretty gargantuan disappointment for me. I went into that wanting more story. And it fucked me up because there ain't really very much story in that movie. The only thing that came out of that movie was Evil Dies Tonight, which made me dislike Anthony Michael Hall's character, and Laurie's daughter getting killed. That's all that came out of that movie. That's it. Nothing else happened in that movie as far as I'm concerned. They could have tied that movie up in 10 fucking minutes. Anyway, back to this movie. I think that if you take away your emotional ties to Michael Myers and you take away the fact that Corey's introduced in this movie and he was never in the previous 12 movies, watch this movie as this movie, and I think that you would like it more. Easier said than done, I'm sure. But for me, I thought this movie was spectacular. I stand by that wholeheartedly. I absolutely, positively loved what David Gordon Green did here. And I got to say, he, as a film director, had to know that this was going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. And hats off to you, Mr. Gordon Green, or whatever the hell you go by, for having the balls to do what you did. I thought it was pretty freaking spectacular. And I can't wait to watch it again. Today's football Sunday, though, so I ain't watching that sumbitch today. But I guarantee you, over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to watch Halloween Ends probably several more times. All right, I guess I'm going to get out of here. Leave me some comments down below, which I really, really, really hope you guys do. I want to know what everybody else feels about this movie. I love it. I know there's got to be some people out there other than the Horror Man and Bronco Juggalo, other than me and us three, that like this movie. Leave me some I'm done talking. Leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought of Halloween Ends. Where does it stand in your Halloween ranking of the entire 13 films? How did you feel about how they dispatched Michael Myers? What do you think of Corey? What do you think of the whole thing? What do you think of the Laurie character kind of coming back to Earth and coming out of hiding and writing a book which kind of felt like a narration of the film? Let me know about all that shit down in the comment section. I can't wait to find out what you guys think of this one. It's been a while since I've been this excited post-view of a movie to see what somebody else thinks. I'm getting out of here. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like this video and you've been enjoying my content up to this point, please do me a huge personal favor. Click that subscribe button and ring that bell. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a kick-ass day. Thank you for watching, folks. See you in the next one.